Good morning, everyone. So, can you hear me from the back? Okay, yeah. What do you think is the worst pain for humans? Yeah. Probably toothache might be one of the terrible pain. Can you see this photo? One dentist pull out the decayed tooth of a patient. What's special in this practice? He didn't use anesthesia. How? This patient was hypnotized by some professional psychologists who have studied and practiced hypnosis for a long time. He also did this experiment. This regular person is laid down on top of two desks, and the one another person sit on his body, but his body does not bend. It's so strange because he was hypnotized. Your body is becoming like a stone. I say this in order to tell you how our mind is so mysterious. Our mind has many layers. They say because of the scientific development, we know a lot what is on the Mars or on the moon. But they say we do not know what's at the bottom of the deep ocean. It's a mystery. The biggest mystery is what is the reality of our mind. One day, when students asked to the Buddha, after you attain great enlightenment, what have you gained? Buddha remained silent for a while. And he said, nothing. Let me tell you what I have lost. I lack of greed, anger, and delusion. That's it. I say, why we have so many wandering thoughts? That's a branch. The root is our so-called three mental poison: greed, anger or hatred, or delusion. I say this in order to tell you the benefit of meditation. In order to tell you, meditation is not just a stress reduction technique or to reduce our anxiety or fear. It is the path to reveal our true nature, symbolized by this circular image. So you have the handout. The first, our founding master pinpointed 10 benefits, 10 merits of sitting within. I will pick several of that. The first, suffering from illness will diminish and your face will naturally shine. Our brain takes 2% of our bodily weight. But do you know how much energy our brain uses for regular people? in our daily activity basically use 20% of our energy. But the thing is, even we are not involved in mental activity, reading, seeing something, or thinking, our brain continues to use the energy. Why? Because of so many wandering thoughts and concerns. The scientists have discovered it still uses 60 to 18% of the energy. Of the energy that we use when we are involved in mental work. So, many Zen priests, they sleep just 3 or 4 hours every day, but they are very healthy because they don't have many wandering thoughts. Why people living in contemporary society is hard to fall into sleep? Insomnia is very common because of so many thoughts and concerns. So, even though you are not that experienced meditator, you will become very physically healthier person by practicing sitting meditation. It can be 10, 15 minutes on every day. And there are so many studies about the benefit of meditation by neuroscientists. This is one of them. So, would you read Isabel? I heard that Elizabeth, she received a Nobel Prize in 2009 because of her study. Yeah.
Elizabeth Blackburn, who won the 2009 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine with Carol Greider and Jack Szostak, is best known for discovering telomeres, the protective caps at the ends of chromosomes, and telomerase, the enzyme that rebuilds telomeres. Her later research expanded into how lifestyle factors, particularly stress and meditation, affect the telomere length and, by extension, aging and health. Here's the key connection between her work and the meditation. First, stress and telomeres. Chronic psychological stress shortens telomeres, leading to faster cellular aging and increased risk of disease. Short telomeres are associated with heart disease, diabetes, cancer, and early mortality. 2, meditation and telomeres. Blackburn collaborated with psychologist Elisa Epel to study how mindfulness, meditation, and stress reduction practices affect telomere biology. Their studies showed that people who meditate or practice mindfulness have longer telomeres or higher telomerase activity compared to non-meditators. Even relatively short interventions, such as a 3-month meditation retreat, were linked to increased telomerase activity, suggesting a cellular level benefit. 3, main achievement regarding meditation. She helped provide scientific evidence that meditation and stress reduction can slow cellular aging by protecting telomeres. This research shifted meditation from being seen as only a mental or spiritual practice to one with measurable biological health benefits. For reference, Blackburn and Epel co-authored the book The Telomere Effect, 2017, which summarizes these findings and explains how meditation, healthy habits, and stress management contribute to longevity.
Okay, thank you. For another study, you can Google it or ask to ChatGPT. Yeah. The second benefit, the power of memory improves. It's not just a memory. Lots of our mental function improves. they say flowing water cannot reflect the moon accurately. So probably you have experienced that somebody asked that person's name, your friend's name. You have known him for decades, but sometimes all of a sudden you cannot recall his name. When you try hard, what's his name? You cannot recall. If you give up the effort, and then when your mind is relaxed and open, all of a sudden, when you have a cup of coffee, water the plant, that name arose in your mind. So that kind of wisdom, including the power of memory, is within ourselves. Neuroscientists classify our memory as short-term memory or working memory, and long-term memory or long-term recall. Do you know, when you rest, still your brain is active? Do you know that? Not necessarily because of the wandering thought. Brain is working hard to delete unnecessary information and connect useful information. And they say, scientists say, working memory is the mental scratch pad where we hold, manipulate the information critical for learning and decision making. Rest is very important. Without the rest, we cannot be very creative or intuitive. Especially for learning and the memory, right? This hippocampus is very critical. Medical doctors discovered even regular people meditate just 2 months. They studied 8-week meditation. Then the gray matter density in this hippocampus has increased. The subject were not Zen priests or Tibetan monastic, regular people. They just practiced people. The third benefit, attachment disappears. This is the most important thing. My teacher always told me, if you wish to live a happy life, you need to create and cultivate blessings and merits by helping others in diverse ways. But if you wish to live a free and liberated life, you need to practice meditation. How could we expect everything go our way? By practicing meditation, we can liberate our mind from all those fluctuating situations. Because attachments will lessen by practicing meditation. What do you think is the characteristic of the neurotic patients? From time to time, as long as we live in this contemporary society, we become sometimes neurotic. What's their characteristic? The characteristic of their mind. Incessant, obsessant thinking. Concern, anxiety is another form of thoughts. It's always triggered by our thoughts. this is the study. Among all concerns, 40% never happens. But we still are worried about it. 30% are about the past events. It is not worthwhile to think about that. 20% the trivial things. 4% is a thing hard to change. Business cycle, weather, etc. But we are still concerned and anxious. That's why John Locke, the British philosopher, said, "What worries you masters you." Anxiety has become the master in our life. We need to do something. That something can be meditation practice. The next item is related. The benefit, unwholesome or unhealthy state of mind will transform into right states of mind. One of the group of people who are unhappy or are not contented easily are the group of people who are greedy. It's a lot of desires. Whether it's a wholesome or unwholesome, it does not matter. The more we are attached to that, the more suffering we have. That's the Buddha's word. The first noble truth. Very, very simple. Our desires drain our energy, exhaust our life. The cortex, outer layer of our brain, it's related with the thinking, perception, voluntary action, and so on. Functional MIT, because of the functional MIT, these days we can very clearly know what's going on in that person's mind when they observe the brain activity. It could be brain waves or the color of some parts of the brain and so on. So functional MIT scan reveals meditation shows stronger activity in the prefrontal cortex. It's associated with the self-control and awareness, and reduced activity in the amygdala. Amygdala is associated with what? Desire, fear, and emotional reactivity. Decrease the activity in the amygdala. The next one, the innate wisdom of our original nature will shine. Archimedes was asked to tell by the Greek king whether the crown the goldsmith made is 100 pure gold or it's mixed with some other metal. The king discovered that the goldsmith was very dishonest person. But it looks like a gold. How can he tell? That's why Archimedes was asked. As we know, he thought about for a long time, but he could not figure it out. One day, in the public bathhouse, he placed his body in the hot water. When he saw the water overflowed from the bathtub, he got it. How to measure the volume of the solids of revolution. It's eureka, eureka. The eureka moment happens when we are totally relaxed. Thinking hard should be accompanied by total relaxation. Both are important. For the light of our true nature shine. That's why these are two aspects of our original mind. In the Vipassana meditation tradition, samatha and vipassana. What's samatha mean? Concentration. Meditation is really like concentration. And vipassana means wisdom. Or the Chinese rephrase that, 正he. 正 means a concentrated or peaceful state of mind. He means wisdom. It cannot be separated. That's why our founding master said, since time immemorial, those who have been determined to achieve the great way have all practiced meditation. There's no exception. You will be gratified by ultimate bliss. One student asked, where is heaven and hell? Founding master said, if your mind abides in a place that transcends the transgressions of merit, suffering and happiness, then that place is a heaven. If you are entrapped in transgressions and merits, and suffering and happiness, that place is a hell. So when we transcend all dualistic thought, good and bad, wholesome, unwholesome, suffering, happiness, just like the mind of the child, then we are in the ultimate bliss. That's who we really are. Tomorrow, let's suppose you are having an examination. We do not want to worry about that, but we very naturally become very anxious. You'd like to forgive that person. You have practiced for many years, but is that easy? Or you have a lack of break your bad habits. It's your mind, but why we cannot use that? Because our mind is not strong or empowered enough. Why? I have no problem to lift this cell phone. It's a light, it's not that heavy. To lift this podium, it's hard because it's heavy. But the muscle of this arm is very strengthened. It's not hard at all. So whether attaining freedom in birth and death or enjoy the ultimate bliss in our daily life, the key is to empower and strengthen our mind. How? When your mind is brought to a pause where your thinking mind stops, your mind becomes strengthened and empowered. That's one of the merits of sitting meditation. The word is dark, they say, because the minds of people are dark. The origin of all conflict wars in our house or in this world between nations, it arises from the conflict in our mind. Do you know the original root meaning of education? Educara, the Latin word educara. Educara means drawing out, pulling out. It's not learning something from outside. Education, it's the literal meaning of education. In that sense, meditation may be the true education or educara to draw out all kinds of potentials, wisdom, compassions, and so on. When you love somebody, you'd like to spend a lot of time with that person. Think about her and try to do something to please her. My teacher told me, we need to fall in love with our true nature. So by purifying our mind, by practicing meditation, we can beautify our mind as well as our life. And eventually, we will discover our true nature by this perfect circle. Let's continue to meditate. Thank you.